Yeah, at least we have a reason to thank God, no matter what has failed in the day or in the course of the week. But at least we are grateful that you are still alive. And the fact that you're alive, yeah, we thank the Lord for you, especially you who is tuning in right now. This is Family Hour, and today is our Wednesday edition. And of course, Wednesdays we talk about family finances and wealth. It is very important as a family to grow your finances, and that is what we always talk about on Wednesday. If you're joining us for the first time, Family Hour is segmented from Monday to Friday. Monday we talk about education and career. Tuesday is always health. Wednesday, finances. Like today, Thursday is always leadership and governance. And then we crown the week with parenting. That is when you see Claire Bwenje coming in. Today we have an interesting topic which you do not have to miss on. But before we get into our discussion, just to remind you about the international event that is yet to happen. Of course, the countdown is already on. We are left with a few days to 3rd of June, and that is the Uganda Matters Day. That is the day we commemorate the Uganda Matters. Of course, we commemorate the 23 Anglican Matters and the 22 Catholic Matters that were burnt in Namugongo. So this year at the Uganda Matters Anglican site, the preparations are spearheaded by the dioceses, the 6 dioceses that make up the Midwest cluster. These include Rwenzori Diocese, West Rwenzori Diocese, Diocese of East Rwenzori, Masindi Kitara Diocese, Diocese of Bunyoro Kitara, and South Rwenzori Diocese. Now, much as we have the day on the 3rd, the pre-activities as we prepare for 3rd, and these activities will commence on the 23rd of May. Those are a few days from now. And the first activity will be the Children's Day. Then on 24th May, we shall have the youth event. 29th May, that is when the fathers and the Christian Men Fellowship will gather. 30th to 31st, these will be mission crusades. 1st June will be women's event. Now this will be a combination of Mothers Union and Christian Women Fellowship. 2nd, we shall have normal Sunday services, and then we crown the entire arrangement with the commemorations on 3rd June. Just to remind you that Church of Uganda Family TV is the official broadcaster of the events. Therefore, follow us on all our platforms, the mainstream, our app, our website, and the other platforms. Of course, you will see all these events. But we also wish the pilgrims who have already set off safe travels, safe pilgrimage to Namugongo. I believe that the Almighty God will guide you throughout the journey, and even those that are yet to start their pilgrimage. But back to what we are discussing today. Our discussions are live on our YouTube channel. Therefore, you can be part of the conversations by commenting, sending in your comment on our social media platforms, that is X or Twitter, Facebook, and as well as YouTube. Today we are talking about how to improve your creditworthiness. And now when we talk about credit, of course, some people have made us think or have made us believe that you cannot survive without a credit at some point. And we are yet to see how you can improve your creditworthiness, but also how you can build strong and sustainable family finances. That is to help you deviate from the credits that we are talking about. So those are some of the things you should expect in today's discussion. With us is someone, I believe it is his first time on this show. but not in this place. We hosted him some time back when we used to have a show called Flourishing Hub, and he has been lost for some time. He'll tell us where he has been all this long, why he had abandoned us all this long. But with us is none other than Dr. Benita Rumanzi. He's the director of Africa Population Institute, and it's a pleasure having you once again.
Oh, thank you very much, Edwin Mukarazi. I'm glad to be in this place once again. Yeah, it has really been a long time for me to be here.
Sure.
The last time I was here, it was towards the end of last year, and I crowned the year when I was in the United States of America.
Yeah.
So that's how where I have been lost to. But nevertheless, I'm around, and to share the nuggets of truth to the people who are listening to us tonight. And I'm sure whoever is listening to us will learn something. So, good evening, viewers. We thank you for tuning in to Family TV. And we believe that today you will learn a lesson that will transform you and your family. Thank you.
Indeed, we are excited. The other thing I didn't talk about, you are a book author. And just in a minute or two, tell us about this book, Beating the Odds.
Oh, thank you for the opportunity. I actually launched this book in the United States of America at the beginning of this year. It was wonderful because it was filed at the Library of Congress, and now I have a full copyright. So Beating the Odds, the unlimited key to success, basically is the truth that help a young person to know how to manage their personal lives and fight for their future irrespective of the background. So we forget about the past and we hold on to the future. Because most in cases, people usually look at their past and then they leave pity parties and they say, no, it's because I was born and I am an orphan, I don't have parents, or I was raised in a poor background. But mind you, it is your choice. The way you were born is not the way you should live. You can beat the odds and stand out from the crowd and do something spectacular that will help you as an individual and also the people around you. So as Africa Population Institute, our strapline is transforming generations. So we want to believe that people who are listening to us today, you need to have an idea that you have to build on, that will transform you as an individual, but you also transform your community, transform your family, and transform the Uganda as a country, or even Africa. So there is always something that you can do. It is not about your past. So this is what we call beating the odds. Okay. Odds are never in favor. They are always against you. But the way you fight, it causes you to prosper and be successful in this life.
Wow. It is such an interesting book that especially the young people out there should read. So please, you can get yourself a copy and see how you can make yourself better. Now, talking about creditworthiness, in simple terms, what does this word mean, creditworthiness?
Yeah, in a layman's language, actually, as I may put it, because people are listening to us are from different walks of life, yes, and they may need to understand it on a common ground. Creditworthiness is the ability of an individual or an organization to pay back the debts or loans that they have. So it is the mandate of every individual to build their creditworthiness. That is the trust that people have to put in you before they trust you with their resources. So if you don't have that creditworthiness, you can't be trusted by finances. And without resources, you can't go far. So you always need to be honest and trustworthy in order to get what you want.
Okay. So, talking about creditworthiness, what are some of the practical steps individuals can take to improve their creditworthiness?
Yeah, the practical one is like there must be credit reports. And the credit reports should give you the credit history. The history whereby you show how you have been trustworthy, like borrowing and paying back, and maybe if you have been faithful in returning people's resources, then someone who can trust you is much more. So as an individual, to increase your worth, please make sure you pay back whichever debt or whichever loan that you have. Don't think that you can run away with it, because at the end of it all, it will become like a vicious cycle. It will come back to you. So you need to make sure that you pay it back.
You reminded me one time we had Reverend Jasper here, and he said that the problem with some of us Ugandans, you go and borrow people's money, but when it reaches payment, you run to the courts of law.
No, but even if you run to the courts of law, it will have smeared mud on you. Because why would you go to the courts of law? Before you got that loan, you signed and assured an allegiance that you will pay back. So if you are unable to pay back, can you go back to the financial institution and tell them that I have failed over, I've reached an impasse? Can you please lift up some bans or some terms and conditions? So that one, you are building your worthiness. Then there is what we call a FICO score. A FICO score is like the financial kind of scorecard that you have to look at. The debt management. How are you going to manage this debt? What are you going to do if you have this debt? So it is a scale of someone who is very active, or someone who is less active in returning the payments. So let's look at that. Then again, another habit that you should do is pay the bills in time. Pay the bills in time. Let it be URA, Uganda Revenue Authority, let it be the water bills, let it be electricity bills, let it be school fees. All those bills, they require you to pay them, and you have to be very lenient in doing so, because if you don't do it, they may accumulate at the end of it all. That's why you end up hearing that URA is coming against someone's property because they were not compliant. So pay the bills in time. Then try as much as possible to reduce the debt. If you can have it cash, the best way. But if you can't, then you seek for financial help. But try to reduce the debts as much as you can. If you can avoid it before taking it. If you can prolong a little bit and do whatever you want to do at a later stage, do it. But don't be quick in attaining the loans that you may not be able to pay. Then another practical step on that can be try to avoid too many diverse accounts. Accounts like opening credit cards, like maybe you want to borrow from Centenary Bank, then you want to borrow from Stanbic, because you are trying to open up different accounts in order to maneuver and get more loans. What has swindled people into debt, it is like when you get money from a financial institution and you are unable to pay, then you are convinced that if I go to another financial institution, I will get the money and pay the other one. There you will be sinking into absolute debt where you can't come out. So I encourage members or people listening to us tonight, please, if you can avoid the debt, avoid it. And if you are to borrow, then you borrow from one financial institution and deal with it until you successfully complete that loan. Then you can consider getting another one. By the way, I'm not a habitual borrower, but I have had people who come to borrow, and I evaluate them, and I look at what they do. The creditworthiness is the key that we look at. Do you have an investment that has the debt to income ratio? Because some people end up getting money, and when you look at the income, it is not sustainable. You can't succeed, or you can't live on that stipend that you are having and again raise more money to pay the debt. So why would you get a loan that you can't service or you can't finance? And I would encourage people, please don't borrow money to begin a business. I think I'll repeat this. Don't borrow money to begin a business. Borrow money to add in an already existing business, because you have already taken the risks. You already know the income, you already know the expenditure, you already know the pattern of the business. Therefore, it will be easier for you now that when you borrow, you are able to pay back. But if you are beginning a business, beginning a business, we have statistics here in Uganda, according to URSB, that out of the 10 companies that begin, only 3, they reach their third birthday. Yeah. Meaning that all companies, 70% of the companies will die before reaching their what? Their third birthday. Those are 3 years. Yes. So if they were established on borrowed money, do you think that in those 3 years they will have paid the money back? No. Meaning that they will come after your assets and your liabilities and they take you. So please, I encourage you, if you're to borrow money, first have an existing business and then you borrow money to put in to develop the business that you have. But it's dangerous if you are literally beginning a business on borrowed.
I think sometimes it is because people are being tempted, because as you enter into different banks, you'll find a startup loan. Sindikanjak, I mean, there are fancy names they give these loans to attract you as someone who passionately wants to start a business. I mean, to excite you to take up this loan. Sometimes they even tell you that, the interest rate is very low, because, I mean, they use that language that convinces you, and probably this is the reason people go for these loans.
A startup loan, I don't expect it to be much money, because if it is a startup, if I'm going to begin a business of making pancakes, maybe that's when I will need a startup, because you will begin slow and then climb up. But when you borrow money, ideally on a fresh idea, some ideas they unfold as time goes on. I can say I want to start importing cars from Japan. But those vehicles that I'm going to import from Japan, I begin by looking at probably if I get 100 or 10 million US dollars loan. Do you know the risk of that? Because you have not done it before, so the experience, you don't have it. So it is good you begin with a business which you are well versed with. You have experience. You have already made the falls. You have already made the mistakes. And then you come up with the business. You already know that then that's how you take it. But if you go on a business head on, it is like stepping in the water with 2 legs. You should not test the depth of water with both legs. You test the depth of water with one leg at a time, and then you will know how business should work. So please, if you really want to be a good credit-worthy person, build a strong credit, whereby it is a pathway to financial freedom. If you, like now, if I really wanted to borrow, even if it is a property, like someone who calls me and says, there's a property of 100 million, and I want to sell it. If I am literally interested in that property, I can run anywhere and pick that 100 million, simply because I have been tested that I am financially worthy.
You are in the good
with the institution that I'm dealing with. I said don't deal with many institutions, because at the end of it all, you will not understand. For us, we have our institution called FIC, Franciscan Investment Cooperative. That is the institution that has helped most believers, especially in the Anglican sector, to prosper. Because when you get that money, you are not sure
the one at St. Francis.
The one at St. Francis Makerere. You are not sure that there is any strings attached. You just go get your money if they prove your documentation is okay, they will give you the money and you pay back in the right timing. So if you don't, then you will not. So this one has helped me a bit to buy a few things here and there whenever I have money, and then I'm able to pay back. But if you don't do that, chances are you may get a very good property and you miss it.
Yeah. Because
you can't raise the quick 100 million. I can raise 100 million in 3 months or in 5 months, but I can't raise it overnight. So I will need the help.
Well, are there mistakes that people make that negatively affect their creditworthiness? Besides, you've talked about one where you were telling people to pay back when they borrow. What are some of the other mistakes that people do that affect them negatively?
Okay, there is what we call credit pitfalls. Pitfalls whereby people make financial mistake of like borrowing money when they don't know exactly what they are going to use it for. Or else you borrow money that was meant to be for this project, and because after having it, you know, so they come and convince you that now that you have this money, put it in this and make
there is this that is trending
money
now
so fast and become rich so fast. So in that case, people end up getting problems because you borrowed money, it was meant for this project, and maybe the credit officer had evaluated it that this is worthwhile, but the moment you get the money, it hits your account, then you get a fresh idea. Because even the devil is very smart. If it wants to put you into debt, to bury you into debt, it will bring something that glitters. Actually, like in this book of mine, Beating the Odds, there is a chapter that says, not everything that glitters is gold. Because there are many opportunities that come your way, and those opportunities are always very like glittering. Like you feel like if I put in money here, tomorrow I am a rich person. Especially if you have heard of the network marketing.
Yes.
People who are listening to me, I am against network marketing. I wouldn't encourage anyone to go into it, because that's just an idea which someone conceives that if I come and convince you, Mukarazi, to give me the money for the company, then the company picks part of your money, gives it to me, and I feel good.
I also get someone, then they pay me.
But I will have cheated you as my brother. I know it is not going to work. Then I come and use the same, I say, it is working. No, this one they should be able to avoid. So, if you really want to be financially independent, especially for the family, make sure you have a leveled ground. And when you borrow money, let it stick to that which you have borrowed. These days we have the PDM, the parish development model. It comes like to help people at the grassroots. But when you reach it down there, people end up now putting it in other things. But at the end of the day, you can't. I mean, it is government money, so it shouldn't be wasted.
People look at it as a give back.
No, it is not a give back. That's money that is meant to transform you from poverty to somewhere. So if you misuse it, I'm telling you, you are misusing your own. And I don't think you'll ever get another one. We have had the yoga, we have had the finance for women, money for the women. We've had a lot of government efforts.
I've actually seen the private sector foundation carrying out activities to empower women, and they're giving them money. Unfortunately, when this woman gets the money, that is when they remember the sofa set that they always desired to have in their home, and then this coffee set. I mean, before we go for the break, doctor, this is reality now. There is a community where we went to some time back to do some outreach, community outreach. So these people took our numbers. So when they get their PDM cash on their accounts, this person calls, I'm sending you money, but I want you to buy for me a flat screen, woofer, and then you use the balance to buy me a good smartphone. And then they even instructed me that the taxi guy I should give the stuff to take them that way. And this is the interpretation people have on this man. Let's take a short commercial break. When we come back, you are going to elaborate more on that. Welcome back from the break. This is Family Hour. We are talking about how to improve your credit worthiness. It is also important as a family to know how some of the basics on how you can build strong and sustainable family finances. Of course, we know at the beginning of the year we all have plans, and big plans. Sometimes someone was telling me earlier today that the problem with you young people, you dream big at the beginning of the month, then after 2 weeks the dream falls. I don't know why. I don't know whether that is true, but I think it is true to some people. Now we are with Dr. Rumanzi Benita. He's the director of Africa Population Institute, and he's taking us through some of these basics. Now, doctor, this remaining time, I want you to help us. Of course, we've now seen, we've talked about the credit worthiness, and we know sometimes you cannot live without this. There are emergencies. I think that is why banks also have emergency loans. So there are emergencies which really need a hand. And what can people, because we also have a category of people who have built a lifestyle on loans. Like you talked about, they borrow to pay off this loan, then they borrow to pay off this other loan, and that is how their cycle of life is. So how can people build strong and sustainable family finances to liberate them from credits? Unnecessary credits.
Yes, unnecessary credits. Actually, to build a strong financial muscle for the family, you need to look at the scenario whereby what works for you as a family. Are you making a business to improve your worth, or you are just getting a loan to survive? Are you just living for survival, or you want to go an extra mile? So this is why we go into 4 different points that I have talked about. There is what we call income management. Look at the income, the money that comes in. If I am going to borrow, I will borrow based on the money that I receive. Because the money that I receive will be the one to determine my credit worthiness. So you talked about the people who live on debts. Like you borrowed here to pay there, you borrow here to pay there. For how long? Is it sustainable? You can't do that forever. And you can't hide. It will be like an... So what we look at, we are all aiming at financial freedom, whereby you can go forth and do a business that is self-sustaining. I can borrow today, but intending not to borrow tomorrow, so that the moment I stand on my 2 legs, I start with Tengenena walking slowly, but the moment I start walking, then I don't need to borrow again, because I will have stood on my 2 legs and the business will be self-sustaining. Then there is also what we call expense management. People, they tend to overspend against the budget. That's why at the beginning of the year, people make resolutions, and you say, this is what I want to achieve in the coming year, or you can even make weekly resolutions or monthly resolutions. But all those resolutions should be aiming at bettering your life. You do something today so that tomorrow you don't repeat what you did. So if my expense is more than what I earn, then I know that I'm swindling towards what? The debt. So I try to avoid. So please, if you have this kind of income, know that income should always exceed the expenditure. Henceforth, that's where you get the money for what? For saving. So that one will help you on debt management. Even when you are borrowing, you will understand that I am borrowing, but I have this way of paying this money, and this is how long it will take me to pay it back. And henceforth, you should be investing. If you have those little savings that you are putting together, one by one makes a bundle. Here a little, there a little, precept upon precept. You put it together. At the end of the day, should be able to be invested. Today I was lucky. The people of census came and found me home, and I am the one who actually participated in the whole questionnaire. I'm a population scientist, as you know, so I tried to look at the questionnaire the way UBOS structured it, and I was looking at the issue of income, household income, and I realized that there are many families which are going to be left behind, because if you look at the income of only the household head, and you don't look at the income of other, like the surviving techniques. I just wanted that questionnaire to include in the surviving techniques of people, because they are literally people who are surviving. They are doing nothing, but they are surviving. So we need to know how are they coping with life, and then it will be an area of improvement or something to learn on. Because like all the codes, they were coded, and what is not in the code, it should be other specified, but I would just find other, and then the specification is missing. So I really wanted that specification, because at the end of the day, I will go and get that data set and try to analyze it, and also be able to help people of Uganda. So that is of saving little a little, and at the end of the day, you invest it. So we need that capacity building to the people who are going to be the little money to invest. That's why at the other program we had last year of Young and Flourishing, it was helping very many people. I don't know if it is still on, but it was helping very many people
We had the last episode last month.
It needs to come back, because it is very helpful, because it helps people to come up with ideas and startups, so that at the end of it all, even when you are to borrow money, you already know how you're going to utilize that, and it will increase your credit worthiness. So the strategies that you have to take here is you have to set up the payment reminders. Please, you know that at the end of it all, the taxman is against you. The URA, Uganda Revenue Authority, is coming against you. NSSF, National Social Security Fund, is coming against you, especially if you are an organization. I'm talking on behalf of small business enterprises and organizations and private entities. So keep those reminders to make sure that all that money you pay. Actually, for church also, you need to consider also paying tithe, because it is also part of it. You know, the Jewish system of expenditure. A Jewish, I love it, when they earn 100,000, they will know that the 10% will go to charity organization. Then the 10% is saved. Then the 10% goes to church and any other activities. And then you live on the what? 70 or 60%. So I know the other one, you plow it back into the business. So let's look at that as we want to survive and weather the storms of life. So we said, you set up the payment reminders and pay the bills in time, and there you will be improving your payment history, and that history will help you. It is like a portfolio. Once a portfolio, you increase your worth, and tomorrow people will trust you with billions and millions of money. You've seen these rich people who are around. When he gets a deal, like they are selling a building on Kampala Road, he will get it no matter what, because he knows he's capable of paying back the money slowly by slowly. So this is how you increase your credit worth and avoiding the debts. People avoid debts and they end up not paying back. So avoid that. That's the mistake that people make in credit worthiness. So when you are dealing with people, also as financial institutions, maybe this is also a point to ponder to the financial institutions. Before you give anyone a loan, don't give them like a test. You are like, you are sure this person is not going to pay this money, but you are after their quarto. You are after their property. You know that this one is not going to pay this money, but because he has put a building on Kampala Road, this one, you are sure you will take it. That will be quite unfortunate, because it is the role of financial institutions to build it. The credit report and credit history, which you may have, that is the one we put on the FICO score. The FICO score is like a scale which measures the excellency, good, or bad data, a poor data. All that is on a scorecard, and it is numerical in nature. We may not go in detail to put it out, but someone who is watching us may maybe try to search about it. But it is very important that for you to build that reputation, that even when you go to the bank, before you even give them the details about you, they are sure that you are a trustworthy person, and they can give you the money that you need. And you can never go far if you are literally not using the available resources. It is good to use what you have to get what you don't have. So that worthiness, that trustfulness that you have is also an asset that it will help you to acquire what you don't have.
Okay. So who keeps this record, or who keeps this history? Is it important that I also keep the history, or I should only rely on the bank's history and report?
This is an individual phenomenon. You have to keep your history. It is your responsibility to pay back. Yes, the bank can label you a bad data, and maybe you run away from it and go to another bank and do what, but you know your conscience judges you very well. So it is you as an individual to make sure that you take these practical steps to make sure that you are actually credit worthy.
Okay.
Yeah, it is your individual responsibility.
Because Ugandans are lazy. That's why I asked that. We want to depend so much on the bank. As long as you meet your obligation, if it is monthly or weekly, whatever, as long as you pay it, you never know. And in the end, some people come and say they were overcharged. They paid more than they were supposed to pay. But I think it all comes because you do not have a credit report.
Yeah, you also need to keep record. Keeping record is a key, and it is also a financial habit. It is good to keep record of your income and expenses and expenditure. It is good to keep record of your asset. The Bible says that a prudent man keeps record of his stock, his flock. So if I don't know how many cows I own or how many goats I do have, so if my shamba boy runs away with 2, I will not know. So it is good to take record. And again, the same Bible tells us that where the treasure is of a man is, there is also his heart. So your heart should be on your treasure. You cannot say, I have a land title and I don't remember it. Or I have this kind of money in the bank account and I forget about it. No, that will not be prudent. So it is good to keep the record of your income.
Okay. So the other thing I would like to ask is about financial literacy. Financial literacy is broad in a sense, but why is it really important for you to have a financial literacy session before you go for a credit or a loan?
No, financial literacy is very important, not only for the purposes of getting loans or credits. Financial literacy is very important. Everyone must be financial literate. Whether you know how to read and write, you need to know that this is money and this is its value and this is its worth. Then you know, if I am to use it, how will it benefit me? If I put it here, I lose it. If I put it in this venture, I will gain. So it is very important. Actually, like at Africa Preparation Institute, we have a program or a course which is called a financial management for non-accountants, something of the sort. So, like, we teach financial management even when you are not an accountant. Yes, so that you know how to handle your resources, because you know how to deal with money. Do you know the reason why most people who are very rich are not the very educated.
Mm.
The very educated are not rich.
Yeah.
Do you know the reason?
No.
The very educated tend to think that it is the big dad, rich dad syndrome, whereby they say, I need to look for a job and start working, and then I'm paid. But the one who is not educated will know that even if I look for a job, I will not what? Get it. So they will have to start businesses whereby they have to start errands that will help them. And they end up employing the ones who are very what? Educated. You've seen that.
Yes.
This is the reason that these people are financially literate. They know their money. At least they will know how to add 1 + 1 = 2. And it will be like the other parable of the talents, whereby one was given 5 and he hid them. He used them and multiplied them to 10, and another one was given 1 and he hid it. So please don't hide your talent. Use your talent, multiply it such that it can help you. And I'm telling you, it is only selfish people who don't want to engage into business. Because if you're selfish, you may think that all I have is enough for me as an individual. But if you are questing to help people, you have people who are like you're helping people in school fees, you're helping people here who are hungry. For sure, you will not settle with your salary. You have to think of, let me look for business so that I can make more money to help more people.
Lastly, Doctor, we talked about the government programs like PDM, Emioga, and very many other initiatives that have been put in place. The way they are executed, is it really a visible way to yield results? And if whichever answer, yes or no, how do you think, to that person, how do you think they can use this opportunity to better their finances?
Okay, to the person watching us or viewing us tonight, I would advise, yes, it is good to get this money, because government initiatives are always good to give, to help people. But you need to have capacity building first. Because you talked about a person who received the money and immediately was ordering for flat screen and telephone and the like. That means that person was not informed. So can we look at how we can inform people, how we can invest in more money to inform the public through the media, television and the radios, and you get people of caliber who are able to talk, like what we are doing tonight. We actually delivering a public lecture that should have been paid for. Actually, tomorrow I'm leaving Uganda for Malawi. At this time I will be leaving for Malawi, and specifically I'm going there to present a paper, and I also be asking them to allow me to represent East Africa, the East African region, on the UAPS Council. UAPS is the Union of Africa Population Scientists. So all the population scientists in the whole world will be meeting in Lilongwe, Malawi next week, beginning on Monday. But for us who are campaigning to be voted, like me who is going to be representing East Africa region, I'm meant to leave tomorrow so that I can have a Saturday and a Sunday of receiving people. But ideally, just standing on a pulpit to present and tell people what needs to be done, I am paid for that. So we are doing a service to the community. We are doing a service to Ugandans. And when I launched this book in the United States of America, it almost became one of the bestsellers because I had gone with very few copies. People were looking for them all over the place. I was
following you. Were moving from state to state.
I moved in 7 states, and I'm telling you, I am going back. After Malawi, in June, I'm going back. And I want to make sure that this book reaches to the rightful person, because it is a mind-transforming book, and that will help people to understand how to deal and cope with life issues. This pity party of living a life of like regrets, no more regrets.
Thank you so much, Doctor. In a minute or less, kindly give us your parting shots.
So viewers, first and foremost, I just want to thank you for listening to us, and I hope you've learned something. So you can always reach unto us and Family TV management, and ask questions that you really want us to expound on. I also want to bring you greetings from my dear wife, Irida Rumanzi, and my 4 wonderful sons. So thank you very much for listening to us.
We are grateful, and there's something you talked about, and now I will violate the rights and request the people of Ruchiga nti bakulabiranga ddala.
The people of
Ruchiga County. We are giving you our best.
Come 2026.
Yes. But thank you so much, Doctor, and thank you so much, viewer. It's been a pleasure knowing that you were watching. I believe you have picked out at least something to enlighten your day and the rest of your days. Thank you so much. We are grateful. Mumza